Hello everybody, today I'm going to be taking you through this palette right here. This is pretty much a palette that I've had for way too long, and in it are shadows that I actually worked very hard to curate and I no longer use. Part of me is kind of thinking, okay, maybe I should perhaps declutter some of these shades, like get rid of the ones that I literally no longer picture myself using whatsoever, and maybe, I don't know, make room for some more single eyeshadows I might be getting in the future. But then I also think that this palette is so busted. This is a Z palette. We don't talk about them anymore, but this is a Z palette, and it's just, I sat on it a few times, I think. I went through a phase where I was sitting on a lot of things. So as a result, so many of my palettes, my older palettes in particular, are shattered because of like me sitting on them. It'd be like that sometimes, alright? But like, I figured I might as well talk about this right now. I'm literally filming this at 2:30 a.m. My sleeping patterns are absolutely terrible. But yeah, let's just get started. There is a mix of ColourPop, Makeup Geek, Looksy, Anastasia Beverly Hills in this palette. There's a ton of shades in here. And I actually got so much of this palette on recommendation from Jaclyn Hill. Yeah, Jaclyn Hill. I used to watch her videos religiously back in the day. I loved Jaclyn Hill at one point, and she had like the single palette that she used all the time. This was before her Morphe palette. This was like way back in the day. And she had so many shadows that she recommended specifically from brands like Makeup Geek, and I bought those shadows and I put them in this palette among others, specifically because of her recommendation. I used to be a big Jaclyn Hill fan. Huge. This is one of the shades that she actually recommended. This is from Makeup Geek, and I don't think that this is available anymore, which is not that terrible because like, this is not necessarily the most amazing shade in my personal opinion. This is Makeup Geek Beaches and Cream. I don't even think that this is worth it just to watch because like, I mean, it's basically like chalky. It has like absolutely no color to it. I don't think that this eyeshadow has aged well whatsoever. I got this because I wanted this to be like my base shadow. I know. I don't use this kind of shade anymore. Like, I can't remember the last time I used something like this. Next up, I have these two shades, which actually happen to be from ColourPop, and I actually still would like to keep them and use them a little bit more once I declutter this singles palette. The first is Let Me Explain from ColourPop, and then the next one is Ringer, also from ColourPop. They're very, very similar, I will say that. And then you also have this shade right here, which I believe is from Makeup Geek, and it's the shade Cosmopolitan. A beautiful, very neutral, all over the lid peachy shade, pretty basic, nothing special there, in my personal opinion, because I love color now. But this one right here is actually quite a really beautiful shade. This is from Looksy, which is an indie brand. But this is actually a shadow that I consider to be a good dupe for Anastasia Beverly Hills Pink Champagne eyeshadow. And this is actually in the shade Bohemian, I believe. Yes, this is Bohemian, and it's absolutely beautiful. This color I will swatch because it's just so nice. It's like a pink foil with like violet or pink micro glitter in it. It's just so pretty. It's a really nice shade. It looks so nice, especially in person. It's really nice. And then this shade, I know that this shade is called Frappe from Makeup Geek. I bought this to be a transition shade. When will I ever reach for this shade again? And then this shade is from ColourPop. I'm not even gonna look at the shade because I think that this shade is a boring gray shade that I'll probably never use, except for maybe for my eyebrows. And then I believe that one of these two shades is a ColourPop shade and the other one is a Makeup Geek shade. And one of these shades is definitely Cocoa Bear from Makeup Geek. And these two shades look exactly the same. Why did I get two of them? And then this is a shade from ColourPop, and it's a shade called Paper Tiger. I will say this, I got this because I wanted this to be my yellow shade in my collection because I remember there was a time that I didn't have a yellow shade and I wanted one, and then I got that shade. And then I figured that, I found out that it really wasn't the most pigmented yellow shade whatsoever. it was nothing special. So I didn't use it that much whatsoever. I believe that this is the ColourPop shade. It's like a light pinky, peachy color. Can't remember the last time I used it. Can't think of a way I will be using it in the future. I believe that this is also a Makeup Geek shade. It's like a peach with like a bunch of gold sparkle in it. And this is a ColourPop shade. Nothing special in my mind. It's just like a basic shade. These are all basic shades, jeez. But these two shades are interesting. I believe that this one is ColourPop Team Captain, really quite pretty. And I think that this one is probably Makeup Geek. Yeah, this is Makeup Geek's Enchanted Forest. Let me swatch them and see if they're still good. I'm not good at swatches. Clearly, this is terrible. This pink shade is from ColourPop. I don't think that it shows up pink on the eye or as pink as I would like a pink shade to show up. From what I can remember, this shade is kind of similar to the pink that I have on my eyelids today, which has faded terribly, if I might add. It's kind of like, when I want like a pink on my eyelids, I want something to be like super vibrant. I want something to be like obviously pink. And both this kind of shade and this shade is not what I'm feeling. These are two Makeup Geek shades. One of these is Coca-Cola. The other one is Bitten. I'm not sure which is which. Let's see if these work. I don't like that. No, I don't like that at all. This is a purple shade that I know I didn't like because it was patchy. It's from ColourPop. This is a blue shade that I also didn't like because it was patchy, and it also happened to be from ColourPop. ColourPop does not make good single shadows from what I have experienced, I think. And this is actually a really cool shade from Looksee. Again, Looksee is my favorite so far in this video. This one is 24K, a really beautiful gold shade. Let me show you. Very, very nice. And then this other green, I don't know. It's kind of, yeah, this is Hijinks. Is that from Looksee? I think it is, yes. It's kind of really cool, actually. This is a really cool shade. Okay, this is a foiled shade from Makeup Geek. I don't know the name. What is the name? What is the name? Charmed. It is. I like it. I really like it. I still like it. It's a very buttery shade. It is absolutely gorgeous. That is nice. See, I wish that this was a little bit of a brighter green, because then I would actually use this, because I mean this is like a nice shade and all, but it's kind of like a shimmery gray, and I don't wear that kind of thing. I remember this shade being absolutely boring. I don't care which brand it's from. I don't like it. This shade is Pegasus. It's from Makeup Geek, and it's a foiled shade, and I remember loving it, and I still really do. It is so nice. Mama like. I like that. I think this is from Makeup Geek. Yeah, this is called Secret Garden. Kind of. Oh yeah, I think Jaclyn Hill recommended this. I mean, it's okay. It's not too inspiring. Right now, as in where my style is at, I like colors that are more vibrant. I like shades that have like a little bit more of like a punch to them, you know? I like jewel tones, but then at the same time, I want those jewel tones to really show up looking colorful on the eye. See, the thing is, if a shade, from my experience, this is my experience of course, if a shade can almost pass as a neutral in the pan and certainly in a swatch, it's not going to look colorful on the eye. There are so many shades that look sort of like colorful shades when you swatch them, but once you put them on the eyelid, or at least my eyelid, they don't look colorful. For instance, what is with this focus? Jeez Louise. Yeah, for instance, with the Modern Renaissance palette, that palette, like, I mean, it has like some really beautiful, colorful shades in there, but when I put those colorful shades on my eyelids, they translate as completely neutral. It's weird, but I definitely get that vibe from this shade. Even though it's kind of like a pretty shade, it's like a nice duochromish green, it kind of looks neutral to me, so I don't necessarily find myself vibing with that. This one is Henna from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this one is Prussian Blue from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I really like these two shades. They're silky, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're expensive. I'm not going to talk about that. But oh, like, look at that. These are nice. I know this is look-see. I'm not sure about these. This one is ColourPop, and this one's ColourPop. I mean, these are kind of like basic shades. But yeah, that was like a pretty rough consensus, I guess, of my only singles palette that I own. And I made very, very sure that there would be like a nice gradient. I really worked hard to make that happen. I was a very privileged 16-year-old when I made this palette. But yeah, seriously, like I made this color scheme. I made it work for me. I really enjoyed it at one point, but now I'm looking at this and all I see are shades that don't inspire me anymore. And I would say like about 25% of this palette would be shades that I actually want to keep. Part of me doesn't want to get rid of the other 75% of this palette because then there would be nothing left in this palette except the 25% of the shades that I actually found myself liking now, you know? But I'm also thinking, okay, what if I get rid of 75% of these shadows, but I still don't use the remaining 25% because this palette is no longer an inspiring color scheme, even though right now I'm looking at this palette and it's not an inspiring color scheme. I think the solution is to go to Cleona and get every shadow that I can. I can't afford that, even though I'd love to. I'm gonna go ahead and take this makeup off. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this that has been bothering me for 2 videos that I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. There will be a video tomorrow or the day after that, but I will see you guys again soon. And with that, farewell. I'm gonna go to bed now. Bye, guys.